What's up, Project Cars 2 fans? David Land here. Welcome back for more Rolex 24 hype. Today we are doing another simulation of another support race for the Rolex 24. Today we are going to be simulating the Continental Tire Series race at Daytona. This idea was suggested to me by AOR Smoking Puppy 841, and the reason I'm giving him a shout out is because I didn't even think to simulate the Continental Series race at Daytona, but I thought it was a great idea, so we are going to be doing that today. The cars you are looking at are a part of the GT4 class in Project Cars, and in the real-life Continental Series, they're a part of the GS class. Now, if you don't know what the Continental Sports Car Tire Series is, it is essentially a series for virtually stock sports cars to participate. There are touring cars, GT4 cars, and then very stock sports cars in this series. Essentially, you just slap a funny wing on it, you slap a roll cage in it, and some racing tires, and you're good to go. Sort of like this Porsche Cayman you're looking at. It's the same type of car that I will be racing, though it's not the same livery. I will be driving the C.J. Wilson Racing entry, which is, of course, a real-life GS category car in IMSA. Now, the interesting part about this race, and you've probably been spoiled by the thumbnail, is that we're going to be starting out with the race in the rain and then progressively getting drier as we get closer to the end of our 20-minute time limit. Now, the AI are on 120%, which normally would be too fast in the dry. Generally speaking, they do alien level lap times at 120% in Project Cars, but in the rain, the Project Cars 2 AI just can't really compete. So to make it an even playing field and make this race very, very interesting towards the end when it dries out and the AI get their super speed, we are going to have them at 120%. So this is going to be a very exciting, very close-fought race. Let's get racing in the Continental Tire Series at Daytona. So we're ready to go here at Daytona. Very wet conditions are greeting us as we head into the trial for the Continental Tire Series race. And we're underway here at Daytona. Coming up across and alongside one of the crossbows immediately. You're going to hear the spotter. I turned it on because they actually use spotters in modern IMSA racing, both in the Continental Series and for the United Sports Car Championship. So when we do the actual kind of Rolex 24, we are also going to use a spotter. Oh, so we get a little bit of contact there with the Scion there. Now working onto the back straightaway, we're side by side, and an awful lot of spray. We got to make hay while the sun shines, or I guess while the rain. Oh boy, howdy, that was close. While the rain falls, because otherwise, like I said, these 120% AI are gonna go nuts on me. But it is very, very wet. I did a test race earlier, 5-lapper with these similar conditions, and it didn't nearly get this wet on the track. So clearly the game wants to make a video, or this video, interesting, and boy, they're doing that. So out into the banking for the first time in anger. Working up through the gears. We should have quite a bit of pace over the AI on the oval section. This Cayman is pretty slippery regardless, but you add rainy conditions into the AI, and the ovals, they're not good in rain or on the ovals, so that was very late on the brakes. I'm surprised I got the car slowed up before sliding off the track, but thankfully we got through the chicane okay. And in behind this Porsche Cayman again. We'll come up into this 5th gear here to the outside. Should have this pass done. Yes, we will. Also pass the Scion to the inside there. Move up a couple positions. Pretty good first lap from us. We're going to grab another position here as we're just essentially Dale Earnhardting it around everybody right now, because apparently nobody knows how to drive Daytona. So we're going to get down here. Very poor braking in the wet. Well, I'm still in 4th gear. That will probably explain some of my lack of acceleration. Should not have used the curb there. The car almost stepped out. Almost stepped out on me. Very slow for the Monster Energy Mustang here. Car just stepping out just a little bit on the exit of the horseshoe. Got to be so careful here in the kink coming up, because this is a treacherous corner in the wet. Oh, as the car steps out, almost swapped ends on me. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. That was a bit close. That was a bit close. But we are up here in the lead group, so that's a good thing. Try to avoid the outside of the track. There's puddles up there, and that is no bueno. Just try to keep the car on the straight and narrow. Car sliding out as we get out onto the banking just a little bit. In behind the Monster Energy car here. Going to work to the outside of him. Should have him passed. Yes, indeedy do. Go up another position. Should have a few more here on the back straightaway. Woo! That was close. Slow car here. A couple slow cars. We're just going to fall on the line here. Hopefully, if the car will brake. Thankfully, it did. Through the chicane. Looks like we got 3 cars to pass to get to the lead. And we got to try to get a gap if we can before it starts really drying out. Through 3 and 4 on the NASCAR course. Big rooster tails coming off these cars ahead. To the outside of the Mustang. The BMW very slow as well on the inside. We'll pass them both. Not sure which car this is up here. Another Mustang. Another Mustang. I think there are 2 very patriotic liveried Mustangs at the front of the field. We're getting the car braked down into turn 1. Still sliding out wide, way out of the groove in turn 1, and that's going to allow the first placed Mustang back into first place. Down a gear. I'm going to keep it in 3rd gear. I feel like 2nd gear bogs the car down too much because these cars do have traction control. So when the traction control kicks in, a lot of times it will screw you over a bit. And it looks like that Mustang is pulling away a bit. Oh boy, I just got to be so careful that there's so much sliding that happens in that kink on the back straightaway. Through the 2nd horseshoe. Come on, baby. Car just not wanting to grip quite the way I want it to. Down into 3rd gear again. Try to clip that apex. Didn't really clip it that well. The BMW is all up on my rear bumper. Now up through the gears. We need to use the banking to great effect here because I think the rain's going to start stopping here relatively soon. Now I did set it to go from heavy rain to light rain, so it will continue to rain for a little while after the heavy part of the rain is over. But again, we need to use the wet track to our advantage as we get down here into the bus stop. I know there's a big puddle right here. Not an amazing run through the bus stop. Certainly did not carry nearly enough speed through there. But we'll try to carry the speed onto the banking here. Looking behind, you can see all the rooster tails of all the GT machinery behind us. Working up into 6th gear. I'm going to try to get turn 1 a little bit better this time, but I'm a little bit worried about locking the rear brakes up. We're just going to have to wait and see. Oh, the car just... I'm probably entering too wide. I think that's my problem. But we're still ahead of the Mustang, so that's a good thing. We're really hustling the car here, as you can probably tell from my hand movements. Traction control kicked in there. Didn't really want that to happen. Turned off my windshield wipers. It looks like the rain may have stopped. Or it's just raining incredibly lightly. It's just gotta baby the car through the kink. Again, traction control kicking in. The Mustang almost got to me. There's some puddles out there. Thankfully, they didn't affect me too much. Going into the final corner before we get onto the banking. And now back onto the banking we go, and you can see it's definitely drying out quite a bit. The dry line's going to start forming. We're going to move. Yeah, you can see the dry line just to the right. We're staying down low to kind of continue on the wet line, if you will. Even though the dry line will probably give us better braking here into the chicane. I'm hoping anyway. Ooh, got a little bit of a puddle there. Felt the car kind of jerk on me there. Ugh, through the chicane again. Whew. Best second sector of anyone today. That is a good sign, as there's a lot of rain in 3 and 4. Gonna have to use my wipers again. That is the thing about this game, is it's incredible that they managed to model that it can rain on one part of the course harder than another. And of course that means a very interesting driving. There we go. That's much better in turn 1, I think. Nope, we're going to slide out. I should have been in 3rd gear. David, why were you not in 3rd gear, you dummy? You dummy. I'm always worried about downshifting because I'm just worried it's going to lock the rear end up. Or spin up the rear tires, and that's not what you want to do in the rain. But we're still holding on to this thing right now. Got the Mustang behind me, but he's not quite close as the car, again, very unstable through the kink on the road course back straightaway. Again, the Mustang closes up through there because that's not my best corner, the dry. Much less the wet. Again, we kick the back of the car out. Yes, I understand that there is one in my tail. And now this is the point where the AI are going to start getting very strong, or at least much stronger than they were earlier in the race. They are going to be coming and coming fast. So into the chicane again. We know we're pretty fast through here. Wow, I thought I went way too late on the brakes there. Oh, car sliding out just a little bit. Almost slid through that puddle, and that would have almost certainly sent my car into a spin. Thankfully did not. So we'll try to pull away again on the banking. This is where, I mean, if there was one place I wanted to be, you'd want to be good, it's on the banking leading up to the start-finish line, because if it's close, we've got it. Of course, that's always the key, isn't it? If it's close. It's up to the sack of meat in the driver's seat to get it right, and I did not get it right in turn 1. I shifted down to 3rd gear, which I thought was the correct course of action the last lap, and it ended up screwing me. Oh, again, car almost kicking out there. Off of the horseshoe, again, the Mustang is closing in just a little bit, ever so slightly. Lifted off the gas before we went into the kink there, and I still almost lost control, still had to save it. Through the second horseshoe, just keep that Mustang behind me, that's all I need to do right now. Make up all my time on the oval, I guess. It's definitely drying out now. So my question is all this rain going to dissipate that's on the track now? Is it going to be gone by the time we finish this race? Are we going to have a completely dry racetrack to deal with? Certainly quite dry here on the backstretch, I can tell you that. Ooh. I couldn't quite get through the chicane the way I would like. I didn't really put a big gap between myself and the Mustang that I would have liked to have. through there. I think I just may need to just take it a little more easily going into the chicane the next time around. But again, we're just putting all this gap on the AI on the oval.
Okay, your pace is good. Just need to open the gap a second. Let's push a little harder.
Third gear. Come on, find that apex, David. Find that apex. Kind of found it.
7 minutes to go.
Well, we still got 7 minutes to go, and the track is definitely drying out. No doubt about it. Oh, just keeping the car on the straight and narrow here. It's still so slidey. So slidey. Lifting off the gas just a little bit. Trying not to over-rotate the car, which we didn't that time. Probably the best way I've gotten through the kink this whole race. Bringing up the revs. There you go. Right from the race engineer. Back out onto the banking again. That Mustang is looking like he really wants to pass me. We definitely got a bit of a train going here. Pretty much everybody's still running in a line. Very close racing here. It's bone dry over here. It is bone dry on the back straightaway. But it's not bone dry in the chicane, which is interesting. Ooh, as I really went in deep there. Here comes the Mustang. We're going to make a little bit of contact as I crash through the puddles there. And the Porsche Cayman will take the lead. Here comes the Monster Energy Mustang. Just like I said would happen, here we go. It's a race, boys and girls. Do we have any damage? We just got a little bit of damage to the front of the car. Shouldn't probably affect me too badly, but we are going to have to really race for this one now because that Cayman suddenly has come alive ahead of me. Trying to protect the inside. We're going to have to use the oval. That's where we're going to have to pass this Porsche up here. We just have to stay close on the inner loop. If we can stay within striking distance, I think we can probably get a draft down the oval portion of the track and really get to him. We'll see. Oh, got to take some risks. The good thing about this track drying out is that the wet tires do provide you some decent grip in the dry conditions. They just wear out a little bit faster, but obviously, since we're so close to the end of the race, it's really not going to matter as we get the slide going here. Okay, we're going to see where we stack up now. Even cars, though. It is a Cayman in front of us, and we are in a Cayman as well. We've got 4 minutes left, so that's maybe 2 laps to go. As we bring up the gears here, go up into 6th, down the back straightaway, completely dry here. Went a bit early on the brakes that time. Ooh. Tried to be aggressive on the apex of that chicane through the puddle. I don't know if we're close enough to strike yet onto that Cayman ahead of us. I just need to make sure I'm fast enough to just stay away from the guys behind, as it looks like one of them's making a pit stop. That's interesting. One of the Mustangs is making a pit stop. We're coming in for dry tires with 4 minutes to go in a race. I'm sorry. You're making a terrible life decision. So probably 2 laps to go now. Get the car off of the horseshoe there. take this flat. Nope, I had to lift. Otherwise that car was kicking and screaming through there. Amazingly, we're able to stay ahead of the cars behind somehow. I'm not really sure how we're able to maintain pace this well with the AI at 120%, but screw it. I'm not going to contend that point at the moment as we've got 2 minutes to go. So we're going to cross the line next time by and get the white flag, 1 lap to go. So now's the time. If we've got anything for this Cayman up here, we got to do it. Into the chicane. Oh, that was much better. It's much drier through there, and that gave me a really good run. I can now use the chicane to my advantage. Boy, we're going to be close. This is going to be close. This is going to be really close. It's going to be a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. We're going to have 1 lap to go here. And try to get that draft. The draft has a huge effect in these cars. Huge effect. Fastest lap of my race. Well, that's not good. We managed to choke in turn 1. Turn 1 not quite as important as a chicane, though. Again, we just need to stay within striking distance. Come on, car. Out of the horseshoe. Just babying the throttle through the kink. Keep the car nice and low. In the second horseshoe, we did a good job there. Come on, baby. Oh yeah, we are close. We are really close. That was a good corner there. You may notice the excitement raising in my voice. We might have this. We might have this. We've got to give it everything we got here in this last lap to get around this Porsche Cayman. Down the NASCAR back straightaway for the final time into the chicane. This is going to be the race right here. Porsche's. Oh, he's through. This is it. I think we're gonna get him. It's going to be essentially a NASCAR race to the end because we're running through NASCAR 3 and 4. We're going to get this draft here coming. Side by side. Oh my gosh. Side by side. We got him. We got him. We're going to win the Continental Tire Series at Daytona. Woohoo! Oh man. What a race. Hold on a second, hold on a second. Woo! You gotta do some burnouts. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. So, by 1/10 of a second, we take the victory over Jeremy Brunel. You can go down through the rest of the field, see where everybody finished. The for whatever reason, the Mustang DNF'd, the Monster Energy car. Whew! That was a hell of a race. No other way to describe it. That was way more exciting than I thought it was going to be, but I guess when a good plan comes together, it makes for an entertaining video. So this was the Continental Sports Car Series at Daytona. Man, oh man. I do know in real life, this race has produced some very close finishes, so I guess this was kind of par for the course. So if you enjoyed this video, enjoyed that finish, hit the like button on this video. Leave a comment how exciting it was. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube. We'll see you in the next video.